Good afternoon on this Monday. We begin at 5 o'clock with legal battles across the U.S. following the Supreme Court's landmark decision on abortion. On Friday, the court ruled to overturn Roe v. Wade and end constitutional protections for the procedure. And that is resulting in legal fights over something called trigger laws. Those are bans on abortion designed to take effect when Roe was overturned. Now, judges in Louisiana and Utah have temporarily blocked trigger laws in those states. Abortion rights advocates have asked a judge in Florida to take similar action there, too. And in California, voters will decide in November whether to guarantee abortion rights in their state constitution. Thank you for joining us here at 5 o'clock. I'm Laurel Porter. With the overturning of Roe v. Wade, access to abortion now largely comes down to what the laws in your state say. And some companies are offering to help their employees travel, if needed, to get an abortion. That includes some locally based ones. Christine Pitawanich joins us with how they're responding to the Supreme Court decision. Christine?
Laurel, on the day the news broke about the Supreme Court ruling, a number of Oregon companies sent out statements, posted on social media, doubling down in their commitment to employees, saying that wherever they are, they'll still have access to reproductive health services, including abortion. The Supreme Court ruling that overturned Roe v. Wade created a shockwave in many communities across the country. Roughly half the states in the U.S. are poised to ban or restrict abortion, where more than 300,000 abortions were performed last year. Oregon businesses have responded. Columbia Sportswear on Friday said in part, should an employee or covered individual need immediate services, our goal is to provide access to health care that existed before today's Supreme Court decision. Intel also sent out a statement saying the company would provide resources for people needing to travel for safe and timely health care. Other companies did the same.
Our founder, Kim, and I had a conversation about the importance of really just showing up for our team members. We want them to know that their care is our number one priority. I'm Todd Woodruff, and I am the Chief People Officer for Salt and Straw. I look after the human side of the business, the people side of the business.
Todd Woodruff says in addition to the Salt and Straw locations in Oregon and California, the company has about 120 employees in Florida and a handful of employees in Texas and North Dakota.
And so as an organization, we want to make sure that all of our team members have the ability to go to a safe place for that kind of care.
Meantime, on LinkedIn, Adidas, Keen Footwear, and Wild, a cannabis edibles company out of Clackamas, also posted messages indicating travel and lodging expenses would be covered should an employee need to go to a state where abortion is legal. Wyden and Kennedy, an international advertising agency out of Portland, has also said it would do the same. Some companies have specified how much employees will get to travel to get an abortion. In some cases, that'll be thousands of dollars. In other cases, companies are still trying to figure that out. And something else companies are still trying to figure out, how to keep employees' private health information just that, private. Christine Pitawanich, KGW News.
Protests in the wake of the Roe v. Wade ruling turned to vandalism in Portland. Police say demonstrators are responsible for thousands of dollars in damage to businesses across the city. All of this happening over the weekend. Mike Benner joins us from Northeast Portland with a look at the damage. Mike?
Yeah, Laurel, we are at the corner of Northeast Broadway and Cesar Chavez, and this area was hit pretty hard. You'll notice the boarded up windows at the Key Bank over here, boarded up windows at the Starbucks down the street here as well, and we can tell you there's damage at the Fleur de Lis Bakery and Cafe. People in this neighborhood absolutely baffled by what happened over the weekend, and that includes Maura White. She's the executive director of the Mother and Child Education Center. The nonprofit had its windows broken and property spray painted during demonstrations late Saturday night. Damage estimates are in the neighborhood of $10,000. White can't understand why protesters would target her nonprofit. It's not religiously affiliated, and it's here to help mothers, even fathers, raise their kids.
I just sat here and cried, sat here that night and was just crying. I'm like, wow, all this good work. I work really hard. We all work really hard. We have wonderful volunteers. We have clients that come back and volunteer with us. And it's like, really? This is how you're going to treat us? It's heartbreaking. We do good work, really good work.
In the southeast Portland area, we're told officers did respond, but were attacked with paint balloons, large rocks, and fireworks. On Saturday night, though, we're told that different events, a shooting, a stabbing, street racing, kept officers from responding to protests that night. And so it really comes down to resources, they say, and they just didn't have enough of them. They're asking anyone with information about these protests this weekend to give them a call. Laurel.
Thank you, Mike. In another Supreme Court decision, the court has sided with a former high school football coach in Washington over his right to kneel and pray on the field. Coach Joseph Kennedy used to work in the Bremerton Public School District in the Seattle area. After games, he would lead prayer sessions on the field with players and other coaches. In 2015, the district asked him to stop, fearing students could feel pressured to participate and that it may open them up to a religious freedom lawsuit. The district says Kennedy continued to pray on his own, with students having the option to join. He was then placed on paid leave and did not have his contract renewed the following year. In a 6-3 decision today, the Supreme Court's conservative justices ruled in his favor, saying the First Amendment rights protects his right to pray.
You know, I'm still in shock. I'm just so grateful that this long, hard fought is finally over and we won. And thank God and everybody that supported me throughout this. I mean, it's just great news for the entire nation.
The Supreme Court's liberal justices dissented in the decision. In a statement, the Bremerton School District and its attorneys wrote, the ruling undermines the separation of church and state required in the Constitution. Interstate 84 is back open right now following a major crash this morning in the gorge. ODOT says a semi-truck carrying a construction crane blew a tire, and that's what happened. It crashed through the central freeway barrier and it caught fire. The driver did escape with only minor injuries. The crash, though, shut the interstate down between Troutdale and Medallion for hours today. The road only just reopened about an hour ago, so you may still see some lingering delays and traffic in the area. In a nationally developing story tonight, 3 people were killed and dozens are hurt in an Amtrak derailment. It happened this afternoon in Missouri when the train hit a dump truck. It was traveling from Los Angeles to Chicago. 2 people on the train were killed. A person in the truck also died. The crash happened at a rural intersection with no train track crossing arms. Here's a live look outside right now at downtown Portland on a hot and smoggy evening. You may have noticed the air has really gotten worse today. There is an air quality advisory in the Portland and Salem metro areas because of elevated levels of smog. And that can be a danger to sensitive groups like children, those older than 65, and people with heart or respiratory conditions. The advisory is expected to last through tonight. So let's bring in our meteorologist, Joe Ranieri, to look at how much longer the heat will last and the smog on our 3rd straight day of 90+ degree weather, Joe.
90+ in the 2nd day in a row where we came close to seeing 100 degrees. And I just checked the official temperature in downtown Portland, 98 degrees. We're going to be seeing much cooler air move in here in just the next few hours, and the rest of the week is going to be really nice. So this is the end of the heat wave with the temperature right around 96 at the PDX. Right now, 95 degrees with a lot of sunshine above much of the metro area. But again, talking about some of those watches and warnings, Laurel, even though we're going to be seeing cooler temperatures move through, we also are going to be under a heat advisory throughout much of the metro area, through parts of the Columbia River Gorge, down into southern Oregon as well. Basically here the next 3 or 4 hours or so until about 8 o'clock tonight. And I don't expect this to get expanded by the National Weather Service, considering we're going to be seeing more of an onshore flow move through it. Look at that. Beautiful conditions along the Oregon coast right now. You see those clouds above the Pacific? They're going to start to move their way in our area late tonight and into tomorrow. There's also a slight chance to see a little bit of some spotty showers and some light sprinkles as well along the coast and throughout the valley tomorrow morning. Temperature right now along the coast of 63 degrees. Currently, we're looking at readings basically in the upper 80s to low 90s. And again, I'm expect to see temperatures right around 25, maybe a little bit more cooler than that heading into the end of tomorrow afternoon. Again, the last couple of days of June are going to be much cooler. The first couple of days of July, you could expect to see some change. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
I think some folks are ready for some relief here. Thank you, Joe. The man arrested for assaulting 2 men in their 80s in downtown Portland over the weekend had his first court appearance this afternoon. Police say 29-year-old Keffer White punched and kicked the victims. Again, they were in their 80s. And today we found out the suspect has a long criminal history. Bryant Clerkley is at the Justice Center where White made his first appearance. Bryant?
Hey, Laurel, earlier today, the DA's office charged White with attempted murder and assault. According to court documents, he has 4 felony convictions. We're also finding out more about what led to the brutal attack. Police say Eric Lichtenstein and Donald Pierce were waiting for a bus when White made fun of them for being elderly. Witnesses told police White said he was going to kill the victims during the attack.
I'm not surprised, especially as a woman. At night, I'm very careful, walking to my car. I don't like walking alone here at night.
Today was the first court appearance for 29-year-old Kiefer White. This was the scene on Northwest 5th Avenue and Hall Streets near the Portland State University campus. Officers were responding to another call when they came across the assault. Authorities say White attacked 2 men in their 80s, kicking and punching the men until they fell on the ground. The 2 men have been identified as Donald Pierce and Edward Lichtenstein. The 83-year-old victim was sent to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. The 88-year-old was seriously injured but is expected to survive. Along with 4 felony convictions, court documents say White also has 3 misdemeanor convictions and 22 parole violations.
It's not shocking to me. I mean, as a resident here, you have to be really careful, be mindful, and try to avoid if you hear someone screaming, you hear crazy stuff. So
authorities say the attack was unprovoked. White was booked at the Multnomah County Detention Center on 2 counts of second-degree assault.
I feel like there's just been a lot of deterioration in the last, particularly during the pandemic. More violence, more people in need.
And White was confirmed to be houseless. He's currently in custody without bail and will be back in court next week. Laurel?
We send our best wishes to the victims for a full recovery. Thank you, Bryant.